Arsenal battled to a draw at the Etihad to stay in the title race. Now, while it was a boring game, Arsenal would definitely take a point, and their defence was amazing on the day with everyone putting their part in. And the man of the match of the game and the key player was William Saliba, who after a shaky start came back to turn things around for Arsenal and was utterly brilliant the whole time. Let's just look at why his performance was so good. Now, at the start of the game, I do think Saliba was looking a bit nervous again. Some of his passes were a bit sloppy, but after a few minutes this seemed to calm down and he got a lot better straight away. And undoubtedly he's one of the big reasons why Arsenal do now have the best defence in Europe, I think. Statistically, they are up there for goals conceded and goals they should have conceded, but comparatively to how hard the Premier League is, with the intensity that Arsenal play, I believe it is personally the best defence. Now, in this game they were brilliant, especially Saliba and Gabriel working together yet again. But there's a lot of credit has to go to the system. In this game, Arsenal did sit off Manchester City a little bit more than they used to. Now, I think Arteta went in with the approach where he wanted to intensely press like he used to, but with the adaptation of Kovacic coming down into defence and being one of the triggers for Man City, it sort of off-balanced Arsenal's press and there was always a man over in Manchester City's defence for themselves. This meant Arsenal were a bit more stale in their press and they sort of would prefer to have Havertz and Odegaard on the two midfielders blocking passes, especially to Rodri. This meant Arsenal had to be a lot more focused because they simply didn't have the ball as much as they probably have all season, only having 28% possession. And Man City in this game really struggled to create chances. Now, they actually had a better press and they actually used a different system, which meant they had a lot more of the ball, and that's what Pep Guardiola wanted at the start of the game. Arteta used something that he hasn't used too much before, and it was a mid to low block in a 4-4-2. Now, usually his mid to low blocks have been very well drilled in the past and have worked very well for Arsenal, but I think in this game it's probably the best discipline you've ever seen out of the team. Now, often Arsenal wanted to stay very narrow. They had nearly all their 11 players behind the ball at all times and they were in their own final third, really against the wall. And more importantly, Gabriel Jesus and Saka, the two wingers of the day, actually covered the midfield runners inside, creating an almost back six when they were pressed into their own box. This meant people like Kiwior and Ben White could come narrower, making sure that there's no space between the half spaces for players like Foden and Bernardo Silva to get in there. This does mean that there's a lot of space out to the wing backs, specifically obviously Vardy and Akanji. Now, this is something that Arsenal actually did very successfully in the first game against Man City this season in the Premier League. At the Emirates, it was Vardy and Walker that day, and he allowed the ball to go out to them wing backs or full backs. This is so if they did cross the ball in, Arsenal would feel like they're better in the air or have more people in the middle narrower, that it wouldn't really cause many issues, and it didn't really cause much issues in that game because Vardy doesn't have great output. And with Walker being out for this game, I think that really put the output past that, and Arsenal didn't believe Akanji or Ake, who would have been in that position, would actually be able to sustain good attack. That accomplished by the fact that Haaland is probably one of the only people in the box trying to win a header and has to against Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba and Kiwior, four brilliant headers of the ball. This meant it weren't a viable option for Man City to really cross it in, so they tried to pass it to the edge of the box, where Arsenal obviously overloaded with people like Rice, Jorginho and the strikers coming back. Now, with this hard system, you need your centre-backs to really take manage of the game, and a lot of the time I thought their communication in particular was key, but also their positioning and mentality. Even a moment like this where Bernardo Silva is on the edge of the box coming into it, look how many Arsenal players get around him, and it's directed mostly by Gabriel and Saliba, telling people to go towards them, and Gabriel is checking the De Bruyne run. This allows Saliba to also check the Haaland run, which he's behind, and they are man marking their players in there while creating and making sure all the half spaces stop. And while every single player is very important to the press, I was really encouraged by Saliba when we got into the game. He was getting more and more confident, and when the trigger of the press was there with Havertz and then it getting pushed out to that left side that we like with Odegaard and then Saka going on his man-to-man, they often wanted Foden to run from deep to get that pass in the middle. If he gets this out, this could be very vital to get on the turn and have a lot of space for a lot of chance for Man City, but the fact that Saliba is so brave and so aggressive, running with him, getting up there, and this ended up creating a massive attack for Arsenal, which they should have scored from. And Saliba and Gabriel and all our defenders are so tactically versatile, they can move in different positions. Obviously, they are all centre-backs by trade, so you expect them to do this, but they cross paths really brilliantly. There was many moments where Saliba would actually move to the right-back position when Man City were at the edge of the box, and then Ben White would move into the middle, just giving a different test for certain players. And Ben White and Gabriel were really good at being the first people that's blocked the shots and got out to players just outside the box, making sure that was their job, while Saliba was making sure no one really got in behind. And it has to be said, Erling Haaland can simply not play against Saliba and Gabriel anymore. He can't do it this season. A lot of the time when Ben White came into the middle is to usually protect that De Bruyne run and make sure he can get it. Gabriel will be the main guy that goes out for the block, and Saliba would often be on Haaland. There was many times where Haaland was simply trying to get off him, but the physical battle he was not winning. Saliba loves it and was up for it the whole time, being very physical on Haaland and making and getting the ball back off him very easily. And there were so many good moments where as soon as Man City came forward, Gabriel and Saliba would both be looking for where Haaland is, and they would direct each other to go towards him. We didn't necessarily have a set player on him this time. They both kind of took the responsibility up when Haaland came down to their side. But most of the time he was trying to battle with Saliba, and Saliba did a brilliant job to just keep putting him off and keep protecting him, leading to Haaland not have any really good efforts at goal. And to put it into perspective, when Man City were putting the ball in, because it was the only opportunity we gave them to create anything, we were heading it away easily. Saliba himself did 4 headed clearances and 5 normal clearances as well, being absolutely dominant in the air against Haaland and even on the floor. And not only that, he made 9 defensive actions and 8 recoveries, constantly running around picking the ball up, and I really loved his mobility in this game. He's such a quick player and can get to places really quickly, even competing with some of the faster players on Man City's team. And while all the defense really worked together well, Saliba was such a duel monster in this game. He had 10 duels and he won 8 of them, winning 6 out of 6 of his ground duels. He was so dominant against Haaland, he had no chance, and even when players came on, they had absolutely no chance. Saliba would go out to the wing to help people when Doku was there, and also was brilliant. His timing of tackle has been excellent as well. And not only did he win the possession the most times in the game, he undoubtedly led the team from the defence and directed people to go to where they needed to, really standing up at such a young age. And it is truly an honour to have Saliba and Gabriel both at the club. Man City had a run of scoring in 57 consecutive home games, and it's come to an end because of these two. And this season they haven't conceded in the 2 league games to Man City. A lot of people are going to criticise Arsenal for their approach like they always do, but I think Arsenal, with 8 points they have gained from the 4 games against Liverpool, Man City, is clear and out better than the others. And considering people think we have a much worse team and much worse manager than this, then it's clearly the best approach. And in these 2 games specifically, William Saliba and Gabriel have won the possession over 20 times, won 16 duels, 11 clearances, 7 tackles and 4 interceptions together. They are everywhere and they're so vital to this team. I think both of them individually are brilliant, and I think this game especially Saliba was the man of the match on the pitch. But don't take anything away from Gabriel, who I also thought was excellent. Now, what does this say for the title race? Well, it gives Liverpool an opportunity, but with Arsenal having this such defensive cover where they can do even a low to mid block against teams like Man City is really concerning for other teams, because they can really do anything right now. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about the game, and let me know what you think about the Saliba and Gabriel partnership. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and watch my video which I did earlier where I kind of reviewed the game in my opinion. And if not, I'll see you in the next one.